Hello everybody and welcome to the opening round of your Simraceway Lola Championship, the brand new series that bridges the gap between your 500 to 900 and your 900 to 1100 skill quant of your main Sunday series. So, what an exciting prospect we have today. We return to the ever enticing Donington Park right in the heart of the United Kingdom for round number 1. This is a 4-round series with a prize pool of over $300 with 4 of arguably my favourite tracks on the calendar. We've got Donington Park, we've got Silverstone at round number 2, we've got Assen for round number 3, and for round 4 we head to our home track in California, the Sonoma Raceway. And with these cars, anything is possible. Don't forget, this car is one of the pinnacle, in my opinion, of what you can achieve here in Sim Raceway. These Formula 3 cars bridging the gap between real and, well, virtual and reality, as you can drive them in the sim. You can go and drive them at the Performance Driving Centre for your own personalised experience and see really how close Sim Raceway can get to these cars in real life. And right now we're seeing some of the finest talent model and showcase this. We've got Asa Acola that just at the moment, and I say just because there's literally nothing between them, holds pole position by just over 500ths of a second. But Axvarti's in the pit lane. I don't think he's going to be that much of a threat. Just as qualifying comes to a close, there's no way near he's going to be able to set another time. And just as we thought Axvarti could have pulled off the unthinkable, the session does drop to an end. So Asa Acola effectively has sealed the deal. He's got himself pole unless there's any late changes in the session. Just waiting for the final times to come through. Then we've got Asa Acola from Axvarti, Lounger in P3, P4 to Stuntman Mike, the extremely fast man back in business with P5, B1386 in 6th place, 7th is Seacombe, 8th place for Penge, Devil Bevan in 9th, Cortese in 10th, Andrej Passa in P11 with Ribeiro in 12th, Luke Sky 13th, and Ken's 24-7 rounds out your field for the moment. Don't forget as well, the beauty of this championship is that it is completely open setup. And with these open wheeler cars where pretty much anything's possible, you want them to feel good underneath your control. Now the question is, do you like an oversteering car? You can throw it around the racetrack and really give it your all. It's like you turn and tame a wild beast. Will that make you quicker? Or on the flip side, are you going to be a complete opposite? Are you going to be a driver that needs understeer in your car? A driver that needs to try and keep that car in a straight line for as long as possible? You want to try and be slow and steady and win the race. And if you do that, who knows? This is why this open setup championship is so important, and we're seeing such a brilliant variety of results here. So as we move into the warm-up session, it is Asa Acola who's your pole sitter, with Axvarti breathing down his neck and Lounger being an outside long shot. We'll be right back with you with the full race in a short moment's time. round of your Simraceway Lola Championship live from Donington Park. What an event we have for you today. It was Asa Acola who took pole position, with Agvarti lining up just behind him in P2, just a few hundredths of a second away in this phenomenally close open setup championship. Question is now then, who's really conquered the best setup? Who's going to be one to win the first round of the championship? Let's find out. Turn one's always key here at Donington Park as they storm down into Redgate for the first time. It's Agvarti that's going to storm her around the outside, and if he can just sweep it around, he's done it as well. Agvarti takes the lead of the race, and that is absolutely incredible. He's still on the outside as they go through the crater curves. Very tiny start. Asa Acola is on the outside line doing everything he can to force his way back through. Gets himself to the inside of the old hairpin. Oh, and Agvarti with a bit of a squirm there, but he's just about able to hold his ground. So a massive well done there to all the drivers who started. It was a phenomenal start. And as they make their way up in towards the end of the first lap, not much has changed position-wise. B13 up into P5 though, looking at the front of Stuntman Mike and Lounge, just see if he can get a slipstream. And through the chicane they go, one that's really plagued the drivers here. If you remember back to the Donington Championship, just over what must have been about a month ago now. And now Penge and Luke Sky getting ever closer. Luke Sky on the defence here as Penge dives to the inside of the hairpin. Oh, and it's a bit risky through Montreal, and Luke Sky able to just about hold his position. But I was very close there in the fight for P12. End of lap number 1, and it's Agvarti who leads from Asa Acola. So a dream start from the man who started in P2. See if he can hold that line going in towards turn number 1. He's done very nicely there as Asa sort of left, wondering what to do, but we've seen this many times before. It's not about who starts in the lead, it's about who finishes. Asa Acola is usually that man to apply the pressure to right at that penultimate lap, or until the penultimate corner of the final lap, and then he'll go for the move, and that is when all hell's going to break loose, and when he's going to catch you off guard. Past there, trying to attack B1306. He's going to move to the inside. He can't quite get it through there though, despite his best efforts here. B13 goes a bit wide, extremely fast, goes extremely late, and he's made the pass. So extremely fast inside the top 5 there and here. So his race has definitely gone the right way. We'll see if he can maybe try and move it a bit forward and push for P4. Or maybe not so soon, because Cortese gets straight back through. It's going to be quite costly through this game. He still follows Agvarti though as they come towards the end of lap number 2. Corner careful. Oh, Asa Acola with a lot of oversteer there. Stuntman right now trying to attack Lounge in this battle we said was developing before. Couldn't quite get it through turn 1 this time though. Bottom of the crater curves, Lounge a bit wide there. You can see the sparks flying off the rear end of that Formula 3 car. Very low to the ground there, it seems, is Lounge's car at the moment. The man who's defending his 3rd position valiantly from Stuntman Mike, as the top 4 separated by just 2 seconds. Now that is a very close field. As you can see, the top 4 are kind of separating away. Then you've got Cortese extremely fast, B13 and Seacombe. So you've got 2 separate groups of 4 here battling away, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to take it back. We've got 2 groups of 4, and then the rest of the field all packed together as Devil Bevan moves to the inside of Ken's 24/7. But he can't quite get it done. Ken's with a nice braking manoeuvre into that chicane once again, and as in turn, make sure he defends his position for at least 1 lap more. They're almost 3 wide into Melbourne hairpin, and Andre Boss loses the back of the car, and it almost looked like something from a GP2 wet race. There was simply nothing he could do. The back end went, and once it had gone, it was all plain sailing from there. He did well to recover, But even so, a very scary moment for him, and he drops down to the back of the field in 13th place. And look at that train from 9, 10, and 11, 12 as Devil Bevan opens up again now on Ken's 247. And again, 247 defends with ease, and a big moment there as Luke Sky 80 gets it just a little bit wrong. Although he dives back up the inside now, it's a very tense battle, isn't it? I think heated is an understatement. That is going to be something that even the Fires of Mordor can't contend with. That is some very fiery action in the backfield right now. Of course, every position matters in this 4-round championship. You want as many points as you can. Cortese defends from extremely fast up at the front of the field. Meanwhile, let's take a little look as to what's going on in the very front. Because right now it's Asa O'Connor who's actually overtaken Anxiety, so amidst all the action we may have accidentally missed that manoeuvre. Anxiety now drops to P2. In fact, he not only dropped to P2, but he's dropped about 6/10 of a second as well. Asa O'Connor really starting to put the sector times in, now starting to get a move on, it seems, here on lap number 5. We've got Lounger P3, Stuntman Mike in 4th, Cortese, who's still holding on beautifully from extremely fast at the moment to go through the crane of curves. We're not exactly sure how much longer that momentum is going to last. It's looking at the moment like he could lose that position quite soon. And now round the outside goes Cortese, and not quite, he's double backing. It's all down to this setup he's got on the car, and B13 may just have a better one under braking, but not quite. He's on the inside, bit of contact. I think if anything that was Cortese's. Whoa! Big incident from Cortese. The car snaps in the other direction, and that was scary to watch. Frightening stuff indeed from the cockpit of G Cortese on the grass once, and that may have been the end of it. That was absolutely scary. He's down in P12, and the thing is, when it's an open setup event like this, you want your car to be as light and as oversteery as possible so you can fling it around. That is the aggressive driving style of G Cortese 49. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off there, because one of the downsides is you get onto the grass, there's not much you can do to stop yourself. You try to correct it, and well, that's what happens. Cortese now sits in 13th. In the final corner they go. We'll see if Cortese can recover or no. Right now it's definitely been a very exciting first round of the championship. We've only had 6 laps, and you can really start to feel the pressure mounting as Asa O'Connor is hammering away at this probably lap record he's going for. He's already 1.1 seconds in front of Anxiety, who's now becoming under a lot of pressure from the man in P3, Lounger. That's something he needs to shake as soon as possible, because it's not going to stay like that for long. Lounger's not the sort of character to hang around. He wants to try and put his way through as soon as possible and make sure he doesn't have to be staying around for hours on end with unnecessary battling. Don't forget as well, if you want to get involved with us or leave your feedback on the race or the stream so far, please head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Simraceway, or on our Twitter handle @Simraceway, or my personal one @LiamJSimRacing. We'll be sure to give you guys a mention in the stream and see what you guys think about the broadcast and the racing so far. I think we've all been a little bit surprised how they went 3 wide into the Melbourne hairpin earlier on. I'm sure there could be a few more Larry moments like that today, as that battle for 7th position is starting to heat up as Ken's, Penge and Devil Bevan try to down B1386, but the real heated battle there is in 8th position. We'll see what Penge can do through the crane of curves and now into the old hairpin. Over the apex, Penge's looking much more dangerous character. Now he's got to wait and see where Ken's position his car. But right now, the two drivers are almost inseparable. There's a car off there, and that belongs to Lounger. Now, what has happened to Lounger? We were just talking about him a few moments ago. He's out of the race. He's retired, P11. He's down in the pits. And I'll be watching the rest of this race from the paddock. What on earth has happened to Lounger? Absolutely remarkable scenes here. So we turn our attention back to the leader, Asa Okolo, who does a 126.2 over the start-finish line, and that is exactly 1 second than Stuntman Mike, as Asa Okolo drops down into drops down into P3. So he needs to try and get a second back as soon as possible through Craner. Oh, and he went a bit too deep, searching for a hole that was simply never going to open. So about a third of the way into this embarkation of the Donington circuit, the opening round of the Lola Championship, and Anxiety has done a much better performance. We were saying at the end of the last championship that he's come alive again. He goes to the inside, easy move there, feeding off the mistake of Stuntman Mike. Anxiety was once a real major contender, as you say, back in the days at the Watkins Glen with those BMW GT3s. And then he slowly faded away a bit. He turned his attention to the Evo racing. He was still competitive, but I think the entire level of competition in the pros, and Anxiety got caught out. He's been knocked off, and the curse of the commentator has struck again. I was going to say he's vastly improved and he's back to his old ways. It seems some things don't change, and the commentator's curse is one of them. He's down to P6, and I feel terrible. Into the Melbourne hairpin, and he must be absolutely distraught after overtaking Asa Okolo on the first corner of the race. He's now down to P6 just 7 laps later. So Asa Okolo leads again now with a comfortable gap over the cars behind him now. B13 trying to follow Seacom and Extremely fast there. Extremely, who's now up to 3rd. So, very good run there by Extremely fast, and he's returned to Simraceway competitions. As they make their way down in towards the chicane once again, he's looking much, much stronger there, Seacom. Quick update of the running order then is Asa Okolo that leads into Melbourne hairpin with Stuntman Mike 7 seconds away almost now. Stuntman Mike fading away slowly, Extremely fast in P3, Seacom in P4, P5 is B13A6, 6th place Anxiety, 7th is Penge, so good solid run there for him. Ken up to P8, so Kenny's going very well. Devil Bev in 9th, Riberio 10th, so breaking into the top 10. Luke Sky a little bit further down than where I'd like to be, I think, right now. We'll see if he can improve his form as the race progresses. We've got Cortese P12, Andre past 13th, and Lounger on retirement in P14 as Asa Okolo starts the journey of Donington. He's almost halfway home. Still a long way to go. Now a 7.2 lead is definitely enviable. Stuntman Mike is losing a bit of time now to Extremely fast and Seacom. That will be a real life battle we have on our hands, that's for sure. Penge currently 7th ahead of this Kent and Devil Bevin battle, which is surely set to erupt over the next few laps or so. Devil Bevin now just 1.07 behind Ken. We'll get the fully updated time in just a moment's notice as they go through Melbourne hairpin and in towards Woodcote Corner for the final time. Give you an update on their splits at the moment. So Devil Bevin now 0.4 away. In fact, he was almost a second quicker there, a 127.3 to a 128.1 set by Ken. So Devil Bevin really is flying, and now it's going to get to the stage where he's almost being held up. He's got to try and find something or get past as soon as possible before he gets held up too much. Devil Bevin is getting a bit closer there to the back of Ken. We'll keep an eye on that battle as it progresses, but for now, keep an eye on the man up front as well. Asa Recola still 7.6 away. Mike has not been able to match him as of late. Extremely fast in P3, still staying a consistent 2.7 seconds away, so he's not exactly losing time. He's not exactly gaining it either. This is really something which I think could shape the rest of this race. It's all about consistency in these open setup cars. The thing is, you can go into a regular setup environment, let's say, so just a regular quick race where everyone has the same car, and that's very well and good. You know who the true drivers are. But when you add the variety of open setups and you add that other factor into the equation, you can get some very surprising results, because it all comes down to who the finest driver is. But it's not just that. You could be the greatest driver in the world, but if you cannot set up a car and you don't understand the principles of doing it, or you don't know what sort of car suits your driving style, then you're going to have a big problem. And this is what these drivers are facing today, and this is what they're trying to discover. For some of these guys, it's their first time setting up a Lola Formula 3 car. For others, it's native territory. This is how they've progressed through Simraceway. They're used to this sort of environment, and that's becoming clear in the pace and the lap times being delivered by these drivers right now. That might through again, and that's going to be starting that number 13 at 20 on today. And now really starting to put the hot laps in is Asa Recola, extending that gap to 8.1, and Asa really is in his own environment when it comes to setting up a car. I've never known someone to be as consistent as he is and to set up a car as he is. He really does deliver something truly special when it comes to this sort of strategy, let's say. So the question is now then, who is going to be the man to make a move over these next few laps or so? Time running out at 18 minutes race distance, and Anxiety is starting to make his way back slowly through the field. He's down to P8 at the moment. He was down to P6 after the horrific incident we saw a few moments ago, but he's now slowly clawing his way back through. He's got past Ribeiro, kind of dispersed of him now completely, who Ribeiro is now kind of been reeled in by the Ken's battle, so we'll touch on that a little bit later. But now Anxiety's got to focus on Devil Bevin. He's 1.3 seconds up the road. These two have driven with each other numerous times before. As they make their way into the final corner for the 13th time today, you simply have to wonder, what can Anxiety do from here? Is it too little too late? Is his race sealed? He's not going to be able to achieve a big result, or is he going to have something greater written in the stars here at Simraceway? So Anxiety down to 0.6 of a second away. He is getting there slowly, isn't he? Trying to just put the distance away now. He's really wheeling him in. As you take a look on board as well, the slipstream's getting better and better. The opportunities are getting better and better. Exactly what you like to see from a chasing driver. Confidence level is rising inside that Lola Formula 3 car right now. Into Melbourne hairpin for the 14th time today, then 7 more laps of racing will behold us. So another 10 minutes or so. Exviati tries to get a run off the final corner. He got close, in fact, but not quite close enough. And now goes to the inside. Oh, that's a textbook manoeuvre if he can make it stick. Despite turn 1, and it's dropping some waves, proving to be very treacherous for drivers recently. But not for Exviati, moves back up to P7. No fight at all. Shame from Devil Bevan. I think he realised he was going to be fighting a losing war. And now Exviati has to turn his attention towards Peng 8 in P6. Devil Bevan though starting to try and reel him back though. Devil Bevan's not really kind of taking this line down. Not as much as we thought he would anyway. So an update of your order then on lap 16 of 21. It's Asa McCullough that leads from Stuntman Mike in P2. Extremely Fast sits in 3rd. Seacombe in P4. B13A6, 5th place. He's going to belong to B13, sorry. 6th is Peng 7th is Devil Bevan 7th. He's really done a bad job at all today, the man who's currently holding that position. We've got Kent in 8th, Luke Sky in 9th, but only just from a charging Exviati who's dropped back again. And what's happened there through Craner? He must be getting, oh, he can't be frustrated. He has to be frustrated, and this is what's killing him right now. Rounding qualified P2 round the outside. That's a daring manoeuvre. He's going to run out of road. He needs the inside line. If anything, I think he's just about got it. Yes. Oh, he almost lost it again. And this is the sort of the other side, the darker side of an open setup race. This car can be so loose, so hard to control. But either way, Exviati moves back up tonight. He's got a long road ahead now to even get close to his qualifying position. A very painful few laps, especially if he spins one more. No, he's had enough. He's called it a day. Car back to the garage. Exviati will be no longer partaking in this race, and that is a real shame. A real shame. That man had so much promise there. He started P2. He was challenging Asa O'Connor. He took the lead of the race in the opening few laps. He dropped to P6, then P8, and now unfortunately he's back in the garage. He's spectating the rest of this one from his pit wall. So our current retirements are, we've had quite a lot today. The attrition rate in the first round off the Lola Open Setup Championship. Exviati was on lap 16, Ribeiro 15, Cortese on lap 12, Lounger on lap 7. And they round out all of your retirements for today, but it's been nonetheless quite intriguing as Asa O'Connor now has a whopping 10-second lead over Stuntman Mike, who just previously passed Extremely Fast in P3. So those two separated by a couple of seconds. Doing everything he can to keep with the man in the current silver medal position if you're in the spirit of the Sochi Olympics. But Right now, he's going to be more worried about someone taking his bronze because Seacombe is at 1.7 seconds up the road as we come towards the end of this one. And a bit wide there, in fact, I think Extremely Fast was. We'll have to wait and see if there are any repercussions of that. Only being 1.7 away is, I don't know when any means necessary, a safety barrier. And the pit line's been led by B13. Now that is very worrying. Is there some sort of pit stop we're not told about? Has B13 got a problem? Has he run out of fuel perhaps? Oh no, it's unlit. Okay, maybe it was just a false alarm and an accidental press. So Asa Okolo is already on that number 19. He's just got himself 3 laps to go until the end of this race. Up through Crane goes Stuntman Mike, followed by Extremely Fast. And then finally 7, again a long way to go for him today. The next battle is going to be Luke, Sky and Ken's. Those guys separated about 2.3 as they make their way down the straight. Down they go once again. Andrew past Pete Peng goes over the line to start his 19th lap in the top 10 for Andrew. Andre's not bad at all. So Luke Sky easy up to P9, so he finally breaks the top 10. And P6 nice and consistent. I mean, his pit light's lit. Let's watch Extremely Fast because I'm wondering if he may run out of fuel here. He stays out, so it could just again be a false alarm, and Seacombe's following in 4th. Only 1.1 seconds away now. There could very well be a late twist in the tail on the penultimate lap of the race. So really not long left as Asa really starts to put some even more safety zone time, it almost, it seems. 10.6 seconds back. Extremely Fast is P3. Seacombe 4th. Still not that far away though from Extremely Fast. There could be a chance. You never know. Strange things do happen to drivers on the final laps of races when those pressure and those nerves really strike over you. Is, will there be enough nerves and enough guts from Extremely Fast to hold on to that final 3rd position? Final lap of the race underway then, and Extremely Fast is going to follow. And they go, just over a minute's racing left to go in this 30-minute race. Either way, it has been another dominating win for Asa Okolo despite losing the lead at the start of the race. He's more than made up for it with a superb drive to secure himself this win. It hasn't exactly been easy, but it hasn't been too tough either. And the accidents of anxiety have really cost himself and have possibly handed Asa Okolo a lot of points towards his championship. The rebound for round 2 is still going to be yet to be seen. It's one thing I'm sure everyone would love to see, because Acer through Melbourne Airport, he goes, works his way up in towards the final corner for the 21st and final time of your afternoon. Acer turns it through nice and gently, nothing to lose. Before you come over to the pit lane to celebrate, Acer is the winner of the first ever round of your Simraceway Lola Championship. So great emphatic drive there indeed. P2 is going to go to stuntman Mike. P3, the man just behind him, who happens to be extremely fast. A great performance there for him. P4 is the mighty Seacon. B136 is in P5 with 6th place belonging to Penge, 7th place belonging to Devil Bevin, 8th place Ken, 9th Luke Sky, 10th is Andre Pass. And unfortunately that's it for all the rest of the team runners out tonight. It's a bit of a shame, but nonetheless we've still had some very strong battling. We've seen some close action, and we've seen another dominating drive from Acer Acola. So thank you so much for tuning in. We've still got the 900 to 1100 Skullcorn races of the American Legends Championship from Mid-Ohio underway coming for you. We'll be right back with you very shortly. I've never felt so good. Hello everybody and welcome back to round 2 of your Simraceway American Legends Championship, here today from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course with these beautiful Corvettes here. We've got a little special surprise for you coming up later on as well, but for now we have to admire these gorgeous Corvettes. their phenomenal sounds and what could just be equally phenomenal racing around such a splendid circuit. My name's Liam Jenkins and I'll call all the action for you as it develops here on track. We're about halfway in towards the qualifying session. Severio leads it by a very slim margin. I take it back. Penge now leads by a rather big margin. 3.5 tenths of a second after just snatching it from Severio. Luke Sky 80 sits in P3 after just coming fresh out of the Lola Championship. 2.7 hundredths of a second behind. We've got Mad Max 66 and Mr. P8, and those guys round out your top 5 for the moment. But anyway, oh, as Penge's hit traffic, whoa, and Penge's lap's been destroyed. And I'm not too sure who that was, but he'll be up in arms about that, that's for sure. Now it's going out of turn number 9, I believe. Ricardo's got loose, very easy to do in that corner, but right on the racing line, and Penge had nowhere else to go except into the back of him. So your pole sitter now back in the pits. And that is going to give every single driver who was currently out on circuit a big opportunity. 3 minutes 58 of qualifying, a lap is about a 1:22 on average. Which means by the time he gets another lap, he may only have time for one more lap. And if that is the case, then there's going to be some definite severe tension, as this pole position may not be as secure as we first thought. So 3 minutes 15 to go, and still Penge who has control of the session at the moment. Wild 7 and Busy still yet to set times as the time starts to tick away. Fregel just gets moved up there as I think it was our teammate has jumped him and he moves up now into P7. So nice little manoeuvre there for him. At 2 minutes 40, can anyone top Penge? It'll be the prime opportunity to. No, he may not get another lap. Even so, Mad Max is looking a bit ragged out there as he comes off just over the apex. He bobbled over it, the car was moving around. I don't think he anticipated that kind of reaction from the Corvette. Unlike the Lola Championship, this is fixed setup, but it is open fuel. So if you do want to try and fancy your chances with a risky race strategy like AZ Best so famously tried at Daytona to win himself a race in that championship, then you never know. Someone could play hero here today and take big risks if you want to win big. You don't win championships by playing safe. Sometimes you have to go all out and put it all on the line, and that is what makes a champion. So we'll see if anyone does try that today, or especially in the A race as well. But Mad Max still can't get close at the moment. Penge, who's bringing his way towards the end of his outlap, or I believe would be. Oh, he spun it again! And surely that's session over. Surely that is session over now for Penge. If that was a hot lap, it will be, I think. Let's just wait and see. He goes over. No, he's going to start again. Yeah, he's got 1 minute left, so he will get another lap. Question is, what can he do in that one lap? Because there's only so much he can do. I don't think he's going to have traffic. That's going to really help his case. The Mad Max goes over the line. This is going to be key. Oh, he messes up big time. And that's session over for Max. Yeah, and that's nowhere near enough, I don't think. Saverio still with an outside shot. 2.9 tenths away, only 100th of a second behind Mad Max. Now he goes over that start-finish line. Can he improve? No, he can't. So Saverio in a little bit of trouble. He's going to do something this lap. But right now, it's all getting a little bit frisky out there. We've got Busy in P8, who's at the moment like he's going to be a little bit too busy because there's a car behind him who's really running on some pressure, and it's not the car ideally he wants it to be. But a lot of the drivers now bringing the car back over the line. It's still Penge as Luke Sky 80 went on a massive charge and got to P2. So an impressive run there by Luke Sky 80. I don't think anyone else can do that. PA goes across the line in P6, but Luke's got really there with a big shot. You say fresh off the open setup Lolas into these Corvettes, two very distinctly different types of car. But even so, a very impressive performance by the man who took a top 10 in the last championship. This time round, he'll be looking for a podium as Penge looks to take a victory. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of the session. Penge is your pole sitter. We'll be right back with you with the full race. Hello everybody and welcome back live to the second round of the American Legends Championship here in Simraceway, where Penge just clinched pole position after an impressive last minute run there by Luke Sky 80. The question is, can he transfer that into an impressive race? Drivers now have to try to adjust their fuel. Do they have enough in their car? Are they going to need to stop? Or is someone going to try and risk it all? Let's find out. 2 seconds until we get ready for these 4 red lights and 21 laps of action. We got 2, we got 4 now, and the lights go out, and the championship is back underway in round 2 here. A minute higher with Luke Sky with a nice start. Oh, it's 3-1 into turn 1 in the back, and that's something you don't really want to see. It can get a little bit congested back there, but either way, we've got a car off in the very back. It's our team S92. And unfortunately, that's his race taking a bit of a temporary halt there as they make their way in towards turn number 2. It's still very congested in the midfield. As PA tries to pull alongside there, and 8 vying for an inside line. He wants to get a slipstream. Everyone fighting, ducking and diving, moving around as they make their way in towards a very tricky complex of turn number 4 and 5. Lots of shuffling around as Busy up to P7 there. But one important fact remains, and that is that Penge leads. Penge has not given up that lead just yet. He's pulling away from Luke Sky and Severio and Mad Max. And the rest of the field are just simply falling away at the moment. As they make their way towards the end of lap number 1, Penge really starting to put the hammer down now as Luke Sky slowly falls back into the clutches of Severio. Mad Max P4, Busy P5, on Drake past, he's almost losing time. 7th place for Wild 7. It could very well be if he can just get past PA, but he's coming to the back of that pack very well. And our team X is off again in the back, so his race hasn't really shown a sign of improving just yet. He's already 13 seconds away from your race leader, but Damachico brings that car in P9 over through turn number 1 now, and he's going to be trying to catch a group in front of him, which shouldn't be too difficult when they're all squabbling around as much as these guys are. So we've got P1, Penge, he's 1.4 seconds in front, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 all battling together. This is a furious war that's started now to engage. We're only on lap 2 of 21. We've got a lot of action left within. Over the crest of the hill they go. Severio really showing signs of slipping now. It's not the Severio we're used to seeing on circuit. But even so, Luke Sky's, in fact, it's a bit of time, I think. Oh, he definitely has, yeah, through turn number 9. That was almost a given. And you can see now Severio reeling him in. He needs this. He needs to get a slipstream before he gets pulled in by Max. It's a case of the hunter becoming the hunted and vice versa in this case. The end of lap number 2, and it's still Penge who leads 2.6 seconds, 2.9 now in fact, over Severio. But it's Luke Sky, the man separating the two. Keep an eye on what's going on in that midfield as well. PA's off in P9, so down to 10th goes Mr. PA, and that is not the way he wanted his race to start. It was looking very promising as well. There's no reason to say why exactly get back to the way it used to be, because he's definitely got the pace for it, is Mr. PA. Severio, Luke Sky and Penge still chasing one another right now. Getting a little bit tense as they go under the Honda bridge. Luke Sky has lost a lot of time, 2.7 away. Severio, on the other hand, is gaining a lot of time. We'll compare lap times as they'll come towards the end of lap number 3 in just a few moments. But Luke Sky almost, I think, had a perfect line there. That's gaining time. So a 121.9 from Penge, a 122.1 from Luke, 122.6 from Severio, so very slow there. A 122.4 from Mad Max, a 122.3 from Busy in P5, 122.7, and then a 123 from Wild 7. The Magica 122.4, so incredible pace there from the man in P8. But the main surprise there for me was Busy in P5. The man who's relatively newcomer to competitive sim raceway events. And already competing in the top 5. He had a good run last weekend in those 4 GT40s. Watkins Glen, and now looking to really continue that today here on lap number 4 of 21. And over the Honda bridge against Severio, kicked that back end out a bit there. The Corvette started to really roar in its wake. I think they're both all realising just how fierce these cars are, how feisty they can be. But as we approach the end of lap number 4, and it is still going to be Penge, he retains a very strong lead now, 3.2 seconds, so again on the rise. Over the line he goes, and a 121.6. A 122.3. So Penge into the 121, and he's off onto the grass. And that was a very close shave indeed. That could have gone very badly very quickly. But as Penge makes his way in towards turn number 4 again, look at now the battle for P2. Severio mounting an attack to the outside of Luke. And he'll need to try and double back it if he can. It'll be a beautiful manoeuvre. But Luke sees that one coming an absolute mile away. And unfortunately for him, he has to try and take him just a little bit. So Luke Sky's got his defensive playbook in full swing right now. Trying to hold back Severio on lap 5 of 21. Again, easy, careful through there, Simraceway. You get loads of oversteer if you're not careful. And he's in the slipstream to dirty. Yeah, it doesn't help either, but he jumps to the inside. And this guy holds him again. Through the final kink. And now number 6 commences. Luke Sky with a 123.2 to a 122.9. And what's happened to Penge? Penge has had a big mistake somewhere, and he's done it again, first corner again. He's wobbling, and look at the bumblebee. It's like a hornet's nest that has just erupted. This yellow sting of cars that are just erupting out of nowhere, and they're angry, they're fierce, they want to attack. And exactly like a hornet, Penge is taking a lot of risks right now, a lot of aggressive driving. And whilst that's great for pace, one tiny error can set you back a long way. He's experiencing that as Luke Sky again comes under sufficient amount of pressure. He's quite lucky in the fact that he holds the inside line very well. And look at Severio trying to get back underneath him. I don't think he'll be able to pull that one off. It was a close call. But look at the rest of the field catching these cars. This is absolutely remarkable. So Luke Sky barely holding on. I'm just trying to observe the sort of line right now. So Severio is all over the back of Luke Sky. Just see what Severio can do. Not through turn 1, he's not, that's for sure. But now Busy's right in the thick of this battle. We're a third of the way through the race. Oh, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how this turns out. This is exactly why the skill com was invented. It's an absolute genius idea, and I think we're seeing it in full effect right now. This is absolutely remarkable. Penge, when he gets going, can put on some phenomenal sector times, and we've seen that in this opening 7 laps. But one tiny error and he's back into the clutches of Luke Sky. And again, through there, just hobbled over the curb. It wasn't too noticeable, but it was enough to lose him a few tenths. In fact, he lost an entire second there, and he's twitching. That car is not stable. Penge is not looking like the most secure driver out there right now by any stretch of the imagination. And that is quite a worrying sign for your race leader, that you've got Luke Sky, Severio, Mad Max and Busy all within just 6 seconds Drake passes there as well. In fact, 3 seconds. Drake passes within 6. Wild 7's within 6. So one tiny error. If you lose 6 seconds and who's it off? Oh, there's Carnage. After Carnage is Luke Sky. And who's the other car off as well? It's Mad Max. So Luke Sky and Mad Max come together. Severio is now on his own in P2 until Drake Pass can catch him. Wild 7 P4. Busy's in P5. So Busy did not really gain from that, I don't think. But Luke Sky has to put on some sort of warpath now as Freckle gets into the mix. And I cannot believe the sequence of events we've just seen here. Absolutely remarkable stuff. You can see the helicopter over the top. So Luke was side by side. It just didn't quite go to plan. They had a bit of a nudge and both cars took the damage it seems. But Severio was able to just about hold on to his car. Unfortunately, he has lost a lot of time to Penge. His only saving grace is going to be that Penge may still be making a few errors right now. You don't know that. He's just going to drive a solid race. It's very much unlike him. This opening third or so, he's not been the most consistent driver out there. He's struggled in places. He's made a few errors. He's slipped back. He's made up a good 4 seconds and then blown it all. Especially that left-hander at turn number 1. It hasn't really been his ideal corner today. And I think Penge is starting to realise that and take a much more conservative approach to his race now. But look at the man who's in P3, Angelique Pass, who did not have a strong qualifying by any stretch of the imagination. But right now is looking at a podium here in the second round of the American Legends Championship if the rest of the race goes like this. Absolutely stunning. Andre again. Oh, he's going to be careful though. I mean, I would love to see him take a podium. You know, he's not notoriously a midfield runner, but to see him mature like that and make the most of his situation would be just fantastic for Simraceway and for a lot of those racers in this skill quad who want to get themselves involved within a championship like this. Anything can happen here, and quite often it normally does. Severio 2.4 seconds up the road from this young man, and there's a bit of a wobble there that didn't go to plan. There's a bit of a yellow flag there, so a quick update through the field, but out there to me with Howard is Busy. Launches an assault on Wild 7, who's also done well to get to P4. And now to the inside of turn number 2. It's a bit risky through there, knowing that the other car's going to get such a better run down that long back straight into turns 3 and 4. And I think right now Wild 7 has had a dream come true if he can just get this counter-attack going. No guarantee that he will. But if he can do it, it's going to be such a fantastic achievement. And no, he can't. So Busy up into P4, and this has been a very unpredictable top 5 to start this race. We're almost halfway through. But right now, Wild 7 is trying to attack Busy. You can see the daylight now, just the cloud cover starting to be a bit more of an effect here. But Penge is really ragging the wheels off this thing. And you can see as he enters turn 1, again he touches a bit of the grass. Not many drivers do it, just purely out of the sheer risk, and you can see why. And Andre's just gone wide, he's down to P5. So he's let Wild 7 through, and Busy is up to P3. We said this young man had talent last weekend at Watkins Glen, but Busy could very well be the underdog of this championship. But over the curbs goes Busy, and he is struggling a bit now, I think, as Wild 7 and Andre Pass, who spun, tries to recover. And they're both trying catching him, and there's just been way too many errors linked in today. Mad Max, Friggle, Luke Sky, PA, our teammates, the Magico, round out your runners, but Penge with a 6.8 second lead as we're over halfway into this race. Well, just over halfway, I should say. Over the line he goes. Into turn number 1, he's got to be careful as Penge is watching that turn 1 line. He takes it a bit wide, and every single time it's risky because all he has to do is mess up once. One time out of 21 attempts, and it's going to cost you more than you can imagine. We will just have to wait and see how he responds to this as he goes under the trees, the shadow of the trees here in Mid Ohio. It's a beautiful scene. Severio trying to hold on in second. He's done a good job now at only defending off of all that pressure from Luke Sky earlier on. But from all the pressure since then, he's done very well indeed. And thoroughly deserves credit where credit's due. Very deserving man to take a second position here. Busy still third. Still on drought in P4 after overtaking Wild 7, who's on the counter-attack again there. We've got Friggle and Luke Sky. So Luke Sky down to P8. That is not how he imagined his race would go. I'm sure it could change at the moment. You know, still plenty that can happen. It's only one half of the race down. We've already seen plenty of surprises. So one or two more wouldn't go amiss. But, as we say, we'll keep you updated on the lap times as they go through. I think right now Penge has just done a superb job of pulling away. You can't guarantee he's going to stay there, but 7.5 seconds in front, you can't really argue with that. But it's all kind of coming to a standstill, and I'll tell you what, I do love this as well. You can just see the track slowly fading, the sunlight's changing, the shadows go over the cars. This is what GT racing is all about. The lights have come on there at the back for our teammates. He knows the conditions are changing slightly now, and it can have an impact on the race, but what a beautiful time of day this is to have a race here at Mid-Ohio. Absolutely beautiful as the sun shines off the bonnet of Penge's car. He goes over the start-finish line for the end of lap number 13. Starts his 14th endeavour of Mid-Ohio and a 121.384. That is just alien-like. Absolutely remarkable. Penge deserves this thoroughly at this stage. I think all the drivers currently deserve their positions except Luke Sky, who can maybe deserve a little bit more, I'd say. It was a silly move, has a little bit of contact. He lost it going side by side. He could have been a bit more patient, but at the end of the day, that's racing. You will not have a race where there are people who don't take risks. That is what motorsport is all about, and that is why we all love it so much. And it's just all about trying to find the balance. And Penge may have just found it. He had a very rocky start to the race, that's for sure. It was no dominant start. I think a lot of us thought he was going to make a few silly errors and perhaps give up the lead, but he's proved us all wrong here today, and he's put in some nice laps, some consistent laps. And in my opinion, those sort of laps, providing you can do that sort of pace and find the balance between aggressive and conservative, then he deserves a win, in my opinion. And you can really see the track start to change now. And oh, Busy's off in third! Huge accident! The rear wings come completely off. And it now looks like some sort of saloon car. Busy rejoins the circuit, down in 8th position. So a terrible incident there. And that has not gone well at all for Busy, no. And just as we were calling him, you know, an underdog for this championship, it would be 2 very good performances in a row. He's going to nurse that back to the pit lane. He does so well, but And that is such a sad moment for Busy. He was looking so strong earlier on. It was a self-inflicted incident. No other cars around. And Busy's race has come to a complete standstill down in P9. Our teammate's out of the race, so it's as low as he'll go. It's still a top 10 finish, but it's not the finish he would like. So that now promotes Mad Max back up to P5. In front of Fraggle and Luke Sky in P6 and P7. Oh, and Penge almost lost it as well. And I think that could just be because of the change in track temperatures. You can see as the daylight gets cooler, the winds start to drop a little bit. The track temperature starts to drop because the sun is not beating down onto the tarmac. And because of that, there's less grip. And when you have less grip and an aggressive driving style, 1 and 1 may not make 2 this time because Penge is starting to struggle. We've already seen him go way too aggressive at turn 1. And he's done it again. Well, he's managed it a bit better there, but in all honesty, he could do with a little bit more help because that is a very aggressive lap. And laps like that, when the track is constantly changing, is not how you win a race. It's going to be a little bit more, let's say, carefully minded out there. Wild 7th, third, Android pass in P4. He's still pressuring him now as the lights start to come on. The Corvette C6Rs. Oh, and you can see that this is beautiful. I'm sorry for silence, but this is just beautiful. And it really is a testament to every single person who works on Simraceway. They don't get enough credit, but stuff like this day to night cycle, the sounds of the Corvettes, Mid-Ohio as a venue, this is almost a dream come true. And I'm so appreciative of being able to commentate at this race right now because this is a beautiful bit of scenery. A beautiful moment, and I'm sure the drivers are having an equally wow moment inside their cockpit, albeit a little bit more tense because they've got a lot more to focus on than just talking. But Busy rejoined the pit lane. He'll be looking to try and get himself back in the action somehow. He's a lap down, however, on the rest of the drivers now. Penge almost loses that car through turn 2. It's a little bit risky through there and needs to be careful. And Andre Kev spun again. He's down to P5 and now Fraggle all over the back of him as they go through turn number 1. And this could be absolutely crucial. Let's just take a look. We've got Luke Sky in the background as well, lingering, lurking, just perhaps waiting for a little instance here. A little opportunity to set himself free, to get himself back inside the top 5. There is a chance, it's an outside chance, but a chance nonetheless. And Andre's got to really try and hold his line now. The track temperatures, as we say, constantly changing, aiding those who defend as opposed to attack. Mark 7 takes a much more aggressive line through there. He's now the inhabitant of 3rd position. Done as we say, a great job at getting himself in that position in the first place, but keeping it as well, it has been no easy task with drivers dropping left, right and centre, with a lot of incidents, a lot of pressure in the championship environment as well. But as Mad Max goes over the start-finish line in P4, the drivers were left behind in P5 and 6 because Andreu did relinquish those positions and is now down to P7, unfortunately. Lap 18 of 21, and it's still your pole sitter who leads. Severio P2, Wild 7 in P3 with Mad Max 66 in P4. Fraggle P5, Luke Sky in P6. He's trying to attack Fraggle, he wants that top 5 back. After fighting with 3rd place earlier on, he's really been on a recovery drive this afternoon. Now as he goes to the outside, Fraggle is almost lost the car there. And very easy to do it to go for that bump. The car goes weightless. It's the first time of 2 it does that in the circuit. Fraggle experiencing it there, and I think he's maybe regretting it because Luke Sky is now all over the back of him. Swarming, in fact. And Luke Sky goes wide, so cars are dropping. They're not performing to the same level they were. For instance, a Penge lap time now will update you next time round. But drivers are doing times of 123s when they were doing 122s. Although a low 122 there from Max. In fact, a 122.0 from Mad Max could see him pose a bit of a threat there to Wild 7 in third. That may not be secure in the slightest. Wild 7 starting to make a few more errors as Mad Max tries to punish him for them, but he just can't quite get that momentum to shift over, and that is what's costing him right now. Frege having his own problems with Luke Sky in P5 and P6. Usually get ready to start the penultimate lap of the race. Penge did a 121.3, so his pace is not lacking, it seems. But Penge's got a bit of traffic there. It's busy, and that's such a shame as well. Busy would much rather be on the other end of that and actually doing the lapping. It could have very well been as well, but it wasn't to be his day. As Wild 7, P3 right now, tries to hold off Mad Max for a little bit longer here on the penultimate lap. This guy trying to attack Frege also, but to no avail, those two just yet. I think that may just stay the same, that battle. But as we come towards the end of the lap, just a quick update on the standings then. I was quickly flicking through the field. It was Penge still leading with a 121.3. Severio overtaking Busy there through the final corner. Wild 7 third. Fourth place for Mad Max. Fifth place Frege. Sixth is Luke Sky 80. Seventh Andrade Pass. Eighth place Mr. PA. Ninth place is Busy. And out of the race are RT Mets, the Magico on lap 7. And that's it. So only 2 retirements here today. The latest was RT Mets on lap number 13. The Mad Max still attacking on the final lap of the day then. So one more lap to determine who's going to be the winner of round 2 of the American Legends Championship. And what a legendary round it's been. We've seen everything imaginable. Severio doing nicely to hold on. Wild 7 just about, I think, going to keep this one. Mad Max is going to have to do everything he can in P4, and he goes a bit wide, and that may just cost him a little. Frege also in P5. Luke Sky trying to attack to break into it, but I don't think he can get a top 5 this race. We've got 2 unsettled battles. One tiny error could be absolutely costly. And Penge's off, but he spins, but it doesn't matter. He wins the race as he crosses the line. And that was a dominant victory there by Penge, start to finish. No one had a real chance. A few shaky moments, but that doesn't matter. Severio takes second. Third place, I think he's going to belong to Wild 7. But what a win for Penge. Did not lead a lap, if that makes sense. He never dropped a lap. He won every single lap there was. All 21. Wild 7 takes third from Mad Max in P4. Frege holds on to P5 by just over a tenth of a second. Andrade Pass, what could have been there, is now P7. It could have been a podium. Mr. PA will be 8th place, and Busy, a lap down, will be P9. So that just about brings us to the end of the action here today. Don't forget, we've got one more race coming up for you, and it's going to be a blinder. we cannot wait for it. The 900 to 1100 skill quad A race of your American Legends Championship is coming your way very shortly. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's going to be an absolute thriller. Hello everybody and welcome to qualifying for the final event of your Simraceway Sunday night entertainment. It is the American Legends Championship, it's round 2 and there are some beautiful Chevrolet Corvette C6Rs. Oh, I can't even describe anymore, this is just too perfect to describe. We saw some brilliant day to night cycles in the previous race and it really did make you appreciate just how great this game's become. We've seen some skill quad races that have put a lot of sim racing leagues out there to shame, and we've seen some fantastic driving, we've seen thrills, spills, and now we see a beautiful day to night cycle with one of the most attractive cars in all of sports car racing. It is simply something to just sit back and be absolutely gobsmacked about. It is a true honour to be commentating on this series, and after the sheer popularity after round number 1, we saw a brilliant win, and Asa Recola is looking to make history repeat itself. He took a win earlier on in the Lola Championship, and we'll see what he can do here today. Asa Recola is really one of those guys where you just cannot match him. He's so unbeatable, and yet there's always one of those guys who will try and push their way through the field. They will match him on an open setup. They can get close when it comes down to it, like Michigan in the championship previously, like the Donington Championship before that. They can't quite beat him, and it's just going to take something very special for someone to beat this man, or perhaps today could see a repeat of a slight hero call. For those of you who don't remember, Daytona a few weeks ago, AZ Best did not stop during a 45-minute race for fuel. He ran on one full tank very conservatively, and in turn it won him the race, the biggest shock of the season, and it led to a big tiebreaker between the two leaders, Asa Recola and Michigan, going in towards the final round. It was a great scenario, but that sheer just courage to run a full tank of fuel and not stop, knowing that it's make or break. If you mess that up, your championship hopes have gone. You have no chance at all into the final round. But if you make it stick, if you get that call right, that could turn you from a regular driver into a legend. And indeed, that race is going to live on for years to come in terms of Simraceway competitive racing. But now we turn our focus back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course, where it's all going down today. This is where your qualifying is coming to us live from today. It's Asa Recola on pole at the moment, with Lounger in P2, Stuntman Mike in P3, Van Panther P4, Sean 24 sits himself in P5. We've got the P6 man of Anxiety, so the man who's had such a strong race earlier on in the Lolas. He was looking so dominant. He overtook Asa Recola into turn 1. He got hold of the lead. He had one moment going down to 3rd, another moment to 6th, another moment down to P10, and he's just had a moment there as well. He's in the wall. And Anxiety has been a really shaky character today then. This has not been the Anxiety that has been that Mr. Consistency throughout the championships, getting consistent top 5s, and he's just spun in the pit lane. This is not going well for him at all today. It's almost like a shadow of his former self. He's got to try and find something, whether he's either not comfortable with this current car track combo, whether he's not comfortable in the car's handling or something. This is not the Anxiety that many of us know and love. We've got Elite Speedway P7, Penge, the race winner from the previous race you just witnessed. 21 laps led out of 21. Could he be an underdog to get a good result today? Let's find out. He's already driven the day to night cycle. He's now just got to drive 34 laps, so an extra 13 more laps. It's a big ask around the circuit is demanding assist. We've got BKO 1 in P9, Cortese in 10th, AGO 6 11th, Seacom 12th, Severio makes a return in 13th, and 14th is Vazquez. So that's the current qualifying standings at the moment. And one thing to remember as well, that going into the race, the pace car today will be driven by one of our own members, James38, so the man who has become a real popularity around the Simraceway community, who's really achieved a lot. He's our oldest community member in terms of age, and one of our most respected, one of the nicest guys you could talk to. And on the track, again, a lot of racing respect out there. Every single driver knows who he is. They know, you know, that he's going to respect him. He's not going to throw anything dirty out there or play unfairly. He knows exactly how to drive. His racecraft is fantastic, and now he has the honour of leading the pace car in a mirror-esque of what the American Le Mans Series used to be when it visited the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course back in its heyday. So the pace car will drive one lap around, it will dive into the pit lane, and the leader will stay on that pit lane limit until they hit the back straight and get the green flag signal, and then we'll have a race. That is a new feature to be added for this race. 10 seconds left of qualifying then. Can anyone top Asa Recola? It's going to be close. There's currently 2 tenths separating himself and Lounger. I can't really see anyone getting a little bit at the moment. I think he's just a bit too far away. We'll have to wait and see. It's not all over yet. But either way, Asa turns in towards the penultimate corner now, just as the session comes to a close, funnily enough. Let's see if he's going to extend his pole position. He's already got 2 tenths. Will he extend it even further? No, he doesn't. And unfortunately, that's his session come to an end. We say unfortunately, I mean, his original pole Lounger's in the pits as well, so it means it has to be a stuntman Mike attempt here if he wants to really take this pole position by storm. He's going in towards that final corner now. We're not too sure. He's lost the back end as well. That's not going to help his time whatsoever. And I think this could be quali over. And he's lost the car. Yeah, he's lost the back end. Session over for him. Xvarti's in the wall again. So a disappointing 6th place it must be. We know he's got pace, but this is not the Xvarti we're used to seeing. I think that is pretty much session over. Yes, it is. So, qualifying over. Asa Acola takes pole. Can he do the same in the race? Let's find out. 34 laps of action coming to you right here from Meadow High Sports Car Course very shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back live to your Simraceway American Legends Championship here from the mighty Mid-Ohio. We've got a brilliant race lined up for you as James 38 will be the pace car here today as he'll lead the field around the circuit for one pace lap before peeling into the pits, and then the racing can begin. So now we just wait for James to move. You can see a couple of cars just moving forward. It's all very slow. It's a time for the drivers to make sure their tyres are heated up, of course, and changing track temperatures here as the day fades in tonight is going to play a big factor into turn one for the first time, and the anticipation, the tension is possibly the greatest it's been all night and could be the greatest it'll be all season. So up the hill they go, and surely now a couple of these drivers are going to be planning some overtaking manoeuvres into turn one, that very tight left-hand corner. If you get it wrong, there's a large grassy area on the right-hand side, but no one really wants to visit that. It can slow you down, yes, but it's also going to lose you some valuable time. This is turn two. Over the crest of the hill they go, and it's just such a beautiful bit of tarmac placement. You can see the elevation changes really do suit these Corvettes very well, and lounges all over the place there. That was a little bit haywire. I don't think he was quite meant to be that aggressive with his weaving to warm the tyres up. Now you can see down this back straight, ideally the main overtaking point on this circuit. The reason being it's the flattest. There's no elevation change to the next corner to some extent, well, until it dips down and rides you straight back up like a roller coaster, that is. But you can get on the inside, and if you can do that, it's moved up. Most other corners there's that chance for a counter attack, and this is one of the very few here in Mid-Ohio. Out of the 13 it offers, it doesn't really offer that. If you've got the inside line, you can swoop it around the outside of the very next corner. This very tight apex here where the car goes weightless for a minimal amount of times due to the weight shift on the underbody of the car. And then after that, it's all plain sailing, providing you get your lines right through the little kink under the Honda bridge. And now this race is about to get fully underway. The cars are starting to bunch up. And our oldest ever Simraceway member, James 38, showing that motorsport passion has no age, is about to peel into the pit lane and let this race begin. He's just got a few more corners to go, and before we have a green flag race here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for round two of the Simraceway American Legends Championship. Question is, how is Asa Ricola going to react? It's going to be him who dictates the pace of that field. They've all got to wait for the green flag signal. It could be a dream come true, it could be a dream start, or it could be the complete opposite. One way to find out. James peels in, the pace car is into the pits, through the final corner, comes your race leader, and now we just wait. It's all about the waiting game. Where's the green flag signal? There it is. They're away, I think, and they're still waiting. No, they got the message saying wait till green, and I think they have to do one more lap. I think they're all going to be very careful here. You can see, just getting instructions from the live race director here, something very specific to Simraceway. So without the pace car, they have one controlled lap at about 60 miles an hour, 80 kilometers per hour. And then after that one lap, that is when this race will get underway. So it is Asa Ricola who started pole position. A run through of the grid then. Lounger starts P2, P3 Stuntman Mike, P4 is Sean, P6 Harrods Axvarti, Elite Speedway, Penge, Beaker, Cortese, AGO6. As we get onto the back straight, this is where now things are going to get interesting. Green flag's on its way, 61 kilometers an hour there. You can see for Asa Ricola. Green, onto the back straight. The flag is out, and there's carnage in the back of only two cars. Green casualty, and I think it's Axvarti, yeah. And his traumatic weekend continues. So it's Stuntman Mike and Axvarti, but my goodness me, Axvarti has had countless incidents today. He's not happy. I don't think this one was his fault, but it's just been a very unlucky weekend for him. So the first proper lap of racing is about to come to an end. They went green flag on the back straight. Asa Ricola had the perfect start, and now has about a 7/10 of a second lead over his nearest competitor, the Lounger. Let's wait and see what Lounger can do from this current situation, as they make their way towards the end of lap number one, essentially. Lap number one of proper racing circumstances, that is. Through they go, and now we let the racing begin. So AG06 is under attack already there from G Cortese into turn number 1. That's something he doesn't really need to be encountering right now. Up the hill they climb towards turn number 2, and Cortese is looking extremely aggressive. He's going to go to the outside, but plays it safe. No need to risk a move like that. You've got to really play this carefully. Especially at this stage in the race where there's a lot more to it than just racing. It's not a 9-lap sprint race like we saw in the 500 to 900 B race. This is a proper, well thought out strategic race with fuel stops as well. The drivers have got to be on their very tippiest of toes right now, as AG06 goes very deep there and then almost tugs the front of Cortese. A little bit of a brake test, I think he'll put that one down to. That wasn't fully intentional, but that midfield already is looking fairly heated up. Bit of a lock up there for Penge. Big lock up for Penge. And the race winner from the previous race spins it. And by the time he gets to go, and he's down to P11. So a troubled start for Penge. We were wondering if he could be the underdog here today. Currently, in the early stage, it's not meant to be. We'll have to wait and see if he can turn his race back around. There's still plenty of time, of course, but for now, I can't really see this being too much of an issue. He's got to really try and catch the barrier. The two drivers who were very close last time around. But it's still Asa O'Connor who leads, 1.7 in front of Lounger, then Van Panther third, Sean in fourth, and Beaker, who started from P9, is up to P5. So a 4-position gain here in just under 2 full racing laps. It's not bad going at all. He's done so well there. And we'll see if we can keep that continuing as well. It's very much like Busy last race, who did an incredible job of getting his car inside the top 3. But he couldn't quite keep it there. The pressure was too much. The track conditions were changing too rapidly. And the car just could not stick to the tarmac. Beaker will be looking to prove those people wrong today. He needs to try and keep that championship hope alive. But to do that, everyone needs to try and stop that man out front, Asa O'Connor, who's really starting to run away with this right now. 1.9 seconds is the gap now. Still plenty of action to come. You can see the helicopter hovering over above, just trying to pick out the best fights here today. But I think, in all honesty, right now it's just going to become a case of, can we stop Asa O'Connor or no? Man, he's showed so much dominance in the past. He's been to the Performance Driving Centre out in Sonoma Raceway, as Beaker gets a little bit closer to the back of Sean 24 there. Not as close as he'd like to, though, through turn 2. Still early days, 5 laps in, and there is still plenty of action to come. But as they make their way down in towards turn number 4 and 5, for the 5th time today, Beaker's a little bit closer than he was last time with Sean, who is a long-time member of Simraceway, Sean 24. I believe he was one of the competitors in my first ever commentary for them, which was a long time ago, in fact, well over a year now, about a year and a half ago. So it's been a fantastic journey, and one I'm sure is going to continue into the future very, very brightly. But this race could go very darkly, because the sky is about to start changing. Changing weather conditions in the day tonight. The cycle is truly beautiful here at Mid-Ohio, and with the cars just providing everything they can, drivers pushing to the absolute limits. Technical difficulties here, we're trying to iron them out at the moment. I'll keep you updated on any changes, but yeah, some difficulties which not really where we need to be. So apologies for the technical difficulties. I think we've just got some bad weather interference here in England. It may be sunny in Mid-Ohio, but unfortunately in England we've got some pretty stormy technical difficulties while the sun is shining over in mid-Ohio. Unfortunately, back here in England, there's some pretty nasty storms brewing. There's a lot of flooding around, and I think it may be interfering with my internet slightly. So I'll do my best to keep you updated as to what's happening on the circuit. One thing I have noticed, there's a huge battle between Seacombe and Elite Speedway right now. Those two drivers 6th and 7th on the circuit, just making their way around their 9th lap of the tour. And on the bridge they go. It's Elite Speedway who's on the attack against Seacombe. We'll be able to put the move on him is another matter though. He's doing everything he can, but Seacombe's defending valiantly at this stage. We'll have to see what Elite Speedway's made of. He's going to plan this a well thought out manoeuvre. So we're almost about a third of the way through this race. They dip through the crest and over the final corner, and Seacombe gets a much better run than his competitor, and that's going to surely help him. A bit further forward, Beaker 01, Sean 24 and Van Panther in reverse order fighting over 3rd position. You go through turn number 2 and Van Panther's in firm control as Sean 24 tries to get some sort of assault plan charged up. But right now Van Panther, again, one of those guys who can really put a defensive show on when he has to. He's put the Fights Racer of colour in the past. He's done a tremendous job last week out in the GT40s. And now it looks to try and recreate that success and take another podium successively here today. Sean just about holding on at this stage. Beaker face the background, a bit loose. So in through turn number 7. They're just bouncing over a little bit. The car goes weightless over that bump, and that is so key. We've seen a couple of drivers have incidents there today, Anxiety being one of them in the race earlier on. Luckily, I think he's all sorted now. Unfortunately, watching this race from the paddock, he can't be with us here today, caught up in a start line incident, which just about sums up his weekend really. It's been very unfortunate for one of the stars of the Simraceway competitions. Towards turn number 1 for the 11th time today then. And Van Panther still leads that battle in P3 at the moment, 4/10 in front of Sean 24. Down the back straight they go, and the quick update as to what's going on with Seacombe and Elite Speedway. Seacombe went very wide. And now Elite Speedway just doing everything he can to attack Seacombe, but I just don't think he's got enough there just yet. Vasquez and Penge starting to fight as well. Penge was caught up, I believe, in that start line incident, and he's just trying to put that C6R2, well, through his paces really, and make sure he can get something going in this race. Thing is, when you've got your fuel strategy set out, you don't plan for race incidents like that. That just sort of happens, and you have to adapt to it. And how well you adapt to it will judge the outcome and how well your race progresses. If you can't adapt to it well and your fuel strategy is way off, then you're going to suffer. If you can change it, or you can change your racing style to make sure that you can either skip a stop or leapfrog an opponent, then that is what makes you a true racing driver and can turn you into a winner. And that's exactly what we saw from AZ Best. He was a complete outsider in that Daytona race, and out of nowhere was able to pull off an emphatic victory, and one that has lived on over the course of the championship, and I'm sure it's going to be remembered as one of the greatest performances all year. But Penge needs to try and get on the attack now, lap 12 of 34. Further forward as well, Elite Speedway, Seacombe again, still P6 and P7. And side by side they go, and he's going to try and double back it. It's kind of worked, he's got alongside. Got the more traction that he needed as well, but it just wasn't enough in the long run. Seacombe was just enough to pull it off. Sean losing a bit of time now as Beaker's got through, so Beaker passed Sean 24. And now sees himself trying to attack Van Panther. Lounger still comfortably PT though. He's done this as before, Lounger. Very good at certifying performances. He can just keep himself a good 5 seconds clear of anyone else possible. And just by driving his own race, he can really push himself integrating this. That'll be 2 again, successive podiums in a row, I believe. So very good going there for Lounger so far. Again, one of those drivers who's matured very recently into a very fierce competitor. Truly a marvel to watch as well. As you can see, the track start to take a bit of a dark shadow to it right now. The lights go on there for Beaker, so maybe just adjusting already or trying to throw Van Panther off guard. Oh, Van Panther with a big moment as well when he's squirming around, and Beaker is reeling him in slowly but surely. Under the bridge once again they go. And now they've got to start feeling like something's got to give, because Van Panther is starting to make a few errors again, over a bit wide through there. A bit of a wiggle from Beaker, but it wasn't anything as drastic as what Van Panther just experienced. Heavy braking in towards the penultimate corner, and they flick it left and on they go again. The gap remains the same. Let's see what the lap times are. 121 flat from Van Panther, a 121, oh, 001, 7 thousandths of a second quicker. But Beaker is getting there, that sort of pace. Oh, and he was a bit wide through turn 1. That was reminiscent of what Penge was doing the previous race. But that was truly a great lap there by Beaker to just undercut Van Panther that little bit, and it's those little numbers that add up. You don't just eat a big cake, you cut it up into little slices, and that is exactly what Beaker's doing now, just slowly but surely taking little slices out of the cake, and eventually he'll be blowing out those birthday candles with what could be a podium position, you never know. Find out, but Acer Acola really is flying right now, 3.2 in front of Lounger, who's been able to keep with Acer Acola again. He hasn't really been left for dust, but I think at this stage there's just not enough momentum there for him. He's got to do a lot more, he's got to provide a lot more. We're approaching the halfway stage of this race now. It seems to get to about lap 16, lap 17. See the dusk now really starting to settle in, and Mid-Ohio takes on a completely different form as Cortese leaves the pits. That's all the way down the order, I think, unfortunately. A bit of a lock up there at the bottom as well, but Elite Speedway and Seagum still neck and neck for 6th position here. Nothing separating the two drivers as they cross the line to start their 15th tour of Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 20 minutes into the race right now. See the lights coming on. Elite Speedway doing everything he can to try and find a manoeuvre, but he just can't get that car alongside at this stage, despite his best efforts, and Seacon doing everything he can to defend. As Mid-Ohio sets into dust, it's a beautiful bit of scenery, but I've got a feeling these two drivers will only be separated by the time the pit stops arrive. As the yellow flag out, I think it's been very cleared out. Cortese's out. So Cortese retires, and a big moment there for Van Panther as he had to cut right across the circuit. Very lucky not to collect the back of AG06 there. Even so, the two Corvettes side by side almost through the last corner, getting scarily close together as the pit stop window approaches, about halfway through this race almost, and now starts to launch an assault. Can't quite pull it off yet, unfortunately, despite his finest efforts. And these headlights really coming into their own right now, as Elite Speedway does everything he can to push past Seacon, but it's a very difficult task. We've said it from race 1. That 500 to 900B race, yes, it was a 9-lap sprint, but we made a valid point. We said that overtaking is difficult around Mid-Ohio, with the drivers in the higher skill quants and the higher races will be taking note, and indeed they have been. It is very difficult to make a successful overtaking manoeuvre around Mid-Ohio. We're 22 minutes into the race. There's a lot of pairing stuck out there who cannot pass each other, and it's purely because this track is designed so dynamically, so well, that if you go for a move, there's always a chance of a counter-attack where you can't quite pull alongside because of the risk of a collision. And this is why Mid-Ohio is one of the greatest endurance circuits on the calendar, why it's excelled at the American Le Mans Series during its day. It's up there with the likes of Road Atlanta and Road America, truly beautiful circuits, and pushing GT cars to their limits, pushing drivers to their limit to see how well they can do. But Elite Speedway, down over the crest they go, and he can't again get that momentum done. Let's compare lap times. It's a 1:21.5 from Seacombe, and again a 1:21.5 from Elite Speedway. So those two, on paper, cannot split them. The Acer still leads, as I'm not put a foot wrong all day here. And that is just classic Acer O'Connor fashion, isn't it? He would never leave like that. He's only really made a couple of mistakes during his entire Simraceway career, but nothing too noticeable. And you can see the shadows now start to form on the Corvette as dusk really does start to appear in Mid-Ohio. Through the penultimate corner he goes. He doesn't pit in yet. This is interesting now. We're approaching the pit stop window. We're over halfway now as they start at number 18. Another 20 minutes or so will be approaching the end of this race. But Acer O'Connor showing no sign of pitting just yet. In fact, we're only in the top 5. Line they go, and Seacombe again starting to flourish a bit now under this pressure. They start at number 18, and for the 18th time in a row it's Seacombe who leads in front of Elite Speedway, and Elite Speedway cannot find a way through, and he must know that right now. Providing he just keeps a consistent line, he's not really going to lose that position. And this is what kind of turns him into dangerous drivers, though. If he cannot make this stick, or he does make a tiny error, Elite Speedway gets through, it'll be very difficult to repass. So whilst consistency is great, you cannot let the fact there's a car deliberately on your tail end for 100% of the time affect your mindset. You cannot let that pressure get to you. If you do and the meat goes through, you'll be on the other end and you won't be able to pass. Elite Speedway knows that. These two drivers, long-time rivals here in Simraceway. Way with the pit stops approaching, you've got to feel like this battle is only going to come down to a pit stop advantage. So over that final curve they go once again, and still it's Elite Speedway that cannot get through. I have a feeling that it's going to stay the same for quite some time. Lap 19 of 34, and Acer O'Connor with a commanding 5.5 second lead. But does fluctuate at all. I can't really see it being too much. And now a quick run through of the order then as we approach lap number 20 of 34. It is Acer O'Connor that leads, Lounger in second, Beaker in third, fourth place for Sean 24, fifth place for Van Panda at the moment, Seacombe in sixth, just over Elite Speedway. Those two may as well be on a scale extra rail because they are not going to be separated by much more. They're like slot cars, they're just driving the exact same racing line over and over and over again, following each other identically. It's fantastic to watch, but it must be extremely tense inside those cockpits right now. 8th place is Vasquez, 9th place is Penge, your race winner from the 900 to 1100B race. AGO6 in 10th, oh, and a big moment there for Penge. 11th is Severio, and out of the race is Stuntman Mike, Cortese, and anxiety after the lap 1 incident. Pacer dips through. You've got to be watching for a pit stop now. There's only 14 laps remaining. We just had a question on the YouTube channel as well there from Pedro Santos saying, how does he participate in the online championship? So, well, a better time than ever to actually describe the structure here. If you want to get involved and you're not a Simraceway member already, be sure to head over to simraceway.com. It's a free-to-play racing game with quick events. We've got championships like this one, or just practice events for you to drive at your own pace against AI, or just do yourself a little time trial. All the tracks are free, a couple of the cars are as well, with some exclusive bundles to get you started. There are championships that take place both official and unofficial. What you're witnessing right now is an unofficial, well, sorry to say an official one, which is the American Legends Championship. We've also had the Simraceway Kart World Championship. There's been a midweek championship, the Formula 3 Championship, which you saw earlier. So the best thing to do is to keep an eye out on those forums. Just click on the forum button and scroll down to the special events tab. There you can see everything you could possibly need to know about the Sunday race-offs and all of the special events and championships that we as Simraceway offer you. To get involved, you simply enter one of the hot lap events which take place on a Wednesday. The top 16 in your skill quant, which is effectively your little, think of it as your racing rank as such if you're into your first person shooters. So people around the same skill level as you all get promoted. So the top 16 of the people around your same skill level go on to the race, and that race is what you're witnessing now. So it's a long process, but fairly simple, and it's all explained in the forums. If you want it explained a bit more in-depthly, let's say, or to get yourself thoroughly involved, or if you've got any more in-depth questions, I should say, be sure to head on to simraceway.com and click that bright orange chat button on the left-hand side. And what that's going to enable you to do is chat to a lot of the members on there. I think there's about 30 on there usually, most of the time, including drivers, race admins, Simraceway staff who will be more than happy to help you with any queries that you should have about the Simraceway environment. There's also still rocked at the pit, lap 22 of 34. We've only got 13 laps remaining now as we hit the half-an-hour mark. So Lounger, Beaker 101 still P3, fourth is Sean, and what we were saying as well is about the AZ Best hero move. I think if anyone ever does go to do this so-called AZ Best strategy, where you don't pit in until you go on a fuel tank of fuel and that's it, just one tank of fuel for the entire race, it's going to be called the AZ Best. It's not going to be called, you know, trying to be the hero or going for a risky kill. It's going to be called the AZ Best from now on, because that was such a gutsy manoeuvre to do, and I think just to pull that off, it has to be commended in his name. But I think that I think me and Kozlaka, our race administrator, were talking before the race that a lot of drivers could potentially be trying that manoeuvre here today. They may just try and go on a full tank of fuel. They'll look back to Daytona and go, you know what, it can be done. I can outsmart the smartest. I can be the next AZ Best essentially. Why can't I go on a full tank of fuel? And it all just comes down to how much testing you've done and how comfortable you are with a light car. Some drivers need to have maybe half a tank of fuel to feel stable, because below that the car gets too happy as the weight from the back of the car simply just floats out of the exhaust in terms of gas. And once that's gone, it's gone, the car gets lighter and lighter, there's more oversteer, and it becomes more difficult to control. So drivers purposely fuel their car a bit heavier just to have that bit of stableness, that bit of, I think, putting your mind at ease, I should say. Knowing that car's going to be stable and you can drive it to the best of your own ability, as opposed to pushing your heart out in a car you're not comfortable in driving. And a lot of drivers may try that today. The only way to find out is to just watching and wait and see. Pit lane seems to be a pretty dead place right now here at Mid-Ohio. So lap 24, we've got 11 laps remaining there, not long left to go at all. And Lounger's still P2, still pushing on. Beacon's still P3, almost goes a bit wide there actually, he's done very well so far. P4 for Sean, P5 for Van Panther. 6th place is Seacombe, and you can see the very back of Mid-Ohio is getting very dark. down the front straight isn't too heavy, but that back end of the circuit, these final few corners is getting pretty dark out there right now. The night time is starting to set in, and Penge going for a move on Vasquez around the outside. And he can't, he's being pushed wide, and he has to, he falls out of that manoeuvre unfortunately, despite his finest efforts. And now he's looking for a move into turn number 1. He's not going to get any luck through there, he's going to go for it anyway. And that could have been the move of the afternoon, but a sensible move there by Penge to not go for that overtaking manoeuvre. It's just way too risky at this stage in the race. You've been driving for over half an hour, you don't want to throw away all of that hard work for one gutsy call and one, you know, just a bit of time in a spotlight it seems. You just got to try and maintain your head. A bit of a lockout there from Penge in P9 at the moment. We'll have to see if any of those guys decide to pit in first and try and leapfrog the leaders. Asa Racola starts lap number 25 out of his 34, so we will have 10 laps remaining left on this race. We can only see this again being the Asa Racola show though. There's been no man to stop him so far. He's done a pretty good job, if I say so myself again. This is exactly why we love him. He's got to be one of the finest drivers in all of sim racing. That is no form of exaggeration. It's just constant dominance week in, week out. There are very few drivers that can equal him or give him a run for his money, and when they do, it is a truly beautiful battle to watch. I think it really is the only word to describe it. It's a fantastic battle. It is tense, it's fiery, because everyone wants to be the man to take him down. So he's over the line, that number 26 underway, still no sign of a pit stop from either of these guys. I think they're going to go for a 60 litre sort of fuel tank if they're not going to pit, which is a very heavy start. I think that's going to explain maybe why Beaker's got out the field so well and been able to hold there. If he is running maybe a slightly lighter car. So that 26 underway, Sean still attacking, a 1:21.3 last time compared to Van Pander's 1:21.4, so he was a little bit quicker. And it wasn't enough. Seeker and Elite Speedway still on slot car aisle, it seems. They cannot be separated. Elite Speedway has been all over that rear end of him. He may as well be glued to the back of it, and they might as well turn it into a Chevrolet Corvette limousine, because right now there's nothing to separate them, and they've been just front to rear the entire evening. It's been beautiful to watch in a way, just seeing those headlights come on, the occasional duck out for a manoeuvre as the night comes upon us here at Mid-Ohio. Try and start at number 27, but they're already 36 seconds now behind Asa Racola, so P6 and P7 just drifting away. Elite Speedway tries to go alongside there. That's the closest he's been in about 5 or 6 laps since the last time he was at that corner and went for a manoeuvre. Vasquez and Penge also still kind of looking a bit of a war back there, but nothing too extravagant at the moment. That 27 underway for Asa. I don't see there being many pit stops at all today. We've seen one from Cortese, who's now retired. I think that pit stop was purely to repair damage. Came out of the pits and very soon later decided to call it a day. But Beaker still pushing on at this stage in P3, and what a performance for that young man it really is today. He's had an exceptional day. 37 minutes in, another good result. He qualified in 9th, now finds himself in 3rd. Speed isn't everything, it's all about consistency, and Beaker 01 has really proved that here today. But we do have 3 battles on track. We've got Van Pander and Sean, then Seacombe and Elite Speedway, and then Vasquez and Penge, who are all battling respectively. So P9 up to P4, dueling away at this stage it seems. So this is slowly coming to an end, and a bit of a kick of dust there from Sean 24. Seacombe and Elite Speedway getting a bit closer together now, I think. Seacombe's starting to feel that sense of urgency that the race is coming to an end. He's having to drive a bit harder to keep Elite Speedway at bay, because the last thing he wants to do is get to lap 33 and lose that position to Elite Speedway after doing so much work to keep him at bay. Now Elite Speedway wants to try and make it lap 27, and he can make it so he goes very wide, and now it's given Seacombe a fine bit of breathing room, and he's been begging for that all race long. He's finally got what he's asked for. And that's been a long time coming. He's just finally got a bit of distance now. Elite Speedway's got to focus and try and regroup his thoughts, regather them, and get that slipstream back underway. Try and take a peek at what's going on, but a bit further back with Vasquez and Penge. Those two are still struggling at the stage, I think, and they're not too sure what's going on, but I think that Penge needs to try and maybe push a little bit harder. We said earlier on, of course, that maybe taking a mid-Ohio is nowhere near easy. I don't think they expected it to be this difficult, as Knight gets incredibly close to being fully in effect. Sean and Van Pant, they're also still going pretty strong at the front of the field. They start lap 29, so 6 laps to go for those guys. Through they go again, and Sean looking a bit aggressive. He tries to pull alongside, and that was a very close call indeed. Van Pant starting to struggle. Sean to the inside. On a bit of a tap. And Sean goes around. He don't know if Van Pant goes round. And Sean with a tap, he's either going to relinquish that position or suffer a penalty, because that was completely out of order. I don't think it was fully intentional, but Van Pant flashing his lights. He wants some form of justification. I think he's going to get it immediately off Sean 24, who's going to feel that he was entitled to do it. It wasn't entirely his fault. No, he does slow down. And look at that. That is true sportsmanship from 24. True sportsmanship. Great racing respect between the two drivers. Lets the position back. No need for a penalty. And that is what this championship is all about. Yes, it can be fiery. We're going to have intense rivalries. And yes, it's all about winning. But there is still a great amount of respect and sportsmanship between every single one of these drivers competing today. Go lap 30 then, 5 laps to go until we come to a closure here at this race. Not long left until we can determine a winner. Will it be Asa or Collar? It is looking that way, that's for sure. But never say never, there's still plenty of things left to be completed. Still lots of battles left unfinished, like the one between Seacombe and Elite Speedway. Seacombe now is relinquished that gap, unfortunately. I think Elite Speedway all over the back of him again. There's still a lot of time left here. I know 5 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but to these drivers, 5 laps is a huge amount of time. And Elite Speedway looking for any possible move he can. Try stuck up the inside, but these Corvettes look so nice under the night lights, under the headlights. And as the night starts to get darker and darker, the day fades away. As does potentially an overtaking manoeuvre for Elite Speedway. He's running out of time. He's running out of time quite fast. He's got to find something quickly. He needs a mistake from Seacombe. Is all he can play for, and I don't think he's going to get it. But through the final corner they go. And very close indeed through there, but not quite enough. Although Elite Speedway, I think, is feeling that sense of urgency. We've got 3 laps remaining, well, 4 laps remaining as he goes to the outside. He hasn't tried to move around turn 2 before. He didn't try one there either. Really now starting to rise the pressure as Elite Speedway goes to the outside. Seacombe is really starting to fall to this pressure. Speedway's getting closer and closer to completing the manoeuvre as he goes wide. Speedway trying to sneak underneath. Finds his way with a bit of a bump between the two drivers, but nothing that calls for any sort of action to be taken. They did their way down. It's very close indeed. Speedway doing its utmost best here to get past, but he's running out of time. 3 laps remaining. That's until this race comes to. A quick update off the positions, and it is still Acer Acora that leads as he comes towards the end, and Styles penultimate lap. Lounger in P2, Beaker in P3, P4 is Van Pantho, who's got his pit light lit. That's interesting. We'll go to that in a second. 5th is Sean, 6th is Seacombe, 7th Elite Speedway, 8th place Vasquez, and 9th Penge, with Severio in 11th behind AGO 6. But we've got to try and watch now what Van Panther's doing with that pit light lit. Is he going to duck into the pits or no? Or is there going to be some sort of maybe mind game trying to play with Sean 24? His Beaker's pretty much secured 3rd position, 17 seconds in front. As the night gets under full swing here at Mid-Ohio, does he pit in? No, he doesn't. So every driver going on a full tank of fuel then. Van Panther's still going strong, penultimate lap. Seacombe and Elite Speedway still neck and neck. They go, and still no improvement there. Oh, and off goes Vasquez! Collision with Penge. Penge's waiting for Vasquez to go back through. So yeah, great sportsmanship there, but now AGO 6 has got involved. We've got a 3-way battle. And that is not what Penge wanted or needed. So number 1, they start their final lap, well, their penultimate lap now. And that is not what they needed at all, is it? AGO 6 under a lot of pressure. We've got Vasquez going wide again. It's going to be a very intense ending to the race, that's for sure. But Acer Acora starts his final lap of the race, 46 minutes in. And there's not long left to go at all. Lounger P2, Beaker's in 3rd, 4th and 5th. I think that may be settled between Van Panther and Sean. 6th and 7th, I can't see it changing in all honesty. Those guys still on their penultimate laps. And then that 3-way battle with Penge, Vasquez, and AGO 6, and off goes Vasquez! And dancing on ice, the judging panel's out. 3 complete spins. It's a score of 8.5. And Vasquez, his race has been turned upside down. Not what he needed at all. And he's down to P10. And it's Acer Acora, he passes him. He's just got a few more corners left to go before he's crowned the winner of round 2 of the American Legends Championship. Through the final corner he goes. 34 laps of dominance. And Acer Acora is your winner of round 2 of the American Legends Championship. What a splendid drive that was. Lounger is going to come through in P2, and what a good job to keep him within 9 seconds. Great performance there by Lounger, 2 consistent results, and this man could be a real underdog. Beaker 01 could very well be driver of the day. Started P9, finishes on the podium, and can stick it to the leaders. What a drive, and that is a warning sign to every other driver in this championship. Beaker 01 could well be an underdog. He is capable of a lot more than what we saw in round number 1. Van Panther, I think, is just going to hold off against Sean 24. These two have been neck and neck the entire time. But yeah, Van Van holds off Sean. Elite Speedway is going to hold off Seacombe. No, Seacombe's let it slip. Seacombe has been passed. And that is not good. Elite Speedway passes him on the final laps. Seacombe must have made an error. And he will not be a happy man inside that cockpit right now. 33 laps of action. And I think he may have run out of fuel perhaps or something. But Penge is going to take 8th, I think, in front of AG06. Severio's glitched in P10. That's bizarre. I think Vasquez may try and take it from him. And so he's off again. Yep, that's Vasquez taking it. AG06 crosses in P9. So Severio down to P11 right at the end. Unfortunate result there for him. As Vasquez just tries to bring his car towards the start-finish line to really seal the deal in this race. But what a fantastic drive by the entire podium today. 3 very solid, very consistent runs. No one pitted for fuel. That is a big surprise. I wasn't expecting that at all. So 3 very ballsy moves, I would say, in terms of what the drivers were able to produce there. So my first order of thank you has to go to our cameraman, Carlos, for making this a really intense broadcast, for doing some fantastic camera angles and what has truly been a beautiful part of the scenery here today. To our events organiser, Kosako, for making all of this possible, and to all of the development team for making this entire game possible, really. But most importantly to you guys, the fans and the drivers, who without you, we would have no broadcast. Your commitment to stay through and watch these streams has been unparalleled, and I cannot thank you enough. Forever in your debt, let's say. So I will see you guys next weekend for round 3 of the American Legends Championship, and I'll see you at Silverstone for round 2 of the Lola World Championship. Take care, and we'll see you on the racetrack.